Welcome back, AI builders. So you have deployed a powerful model like GPT-4o in Azure AI Foundry. Now comes the exciting part. How do you actually bring it to life in your own application? Today we are talking about creating a generative AI, that app which connects to your deployed model. Imagine your model is this brilliant brain living in your Azure project. So the playground is great for quick testing and experimentations. But how do you actually have a conversation with it from your own code? How do you build a real application that users can interact with? This is where the magic of the Azure AI Foundry SDK comes into play. Think of SDK as a secure phone line between your application code and your AI model. It's the bridge that lets your Python script, you can use all other scripts like Java, JavaScript, .NET, your web app, your mobile backend talk directly to the powerful language model you deployed. And here is how it works conceptually. First, you establish a connection. You create what's called a project client using your project endpoint and credentials. This is like dealing the phone number and authenticating yourself. Once the connection is established, you get a chat client that works like the familiar OpenAI API, but it's pointing directly at your deployed model in your Azure project. So few things like key components are Azure credential, project endpoint, project client, and OpenAI client. Now the conversation can begin. And here is the where understanding the structure of the chat conversation become really important. You don't just send isolated questions to the model. Instead, you structure your interaction as a list of messages. Each message has a role, either system message or user message or assistant. You start with a system message. This is where you set the personality and behavior of your AI. It's like briefing an employee on their first day. You might say you are a helpful AI assistant that answers questions. So this instruction stays with the model throughout the entire conversation. Then comes the user message. This is where your actual user asks these questions. Maybe something like, what's the fastest animal on earth? Your code bundles that up. The system message plus the user message and sends it over the phone line to your deployed model. The model processes it, thinks about it, and generates a response. So system message, user message, assistant message. So your code, when it responds back, you don't just display the answer and forget about it. It responds and add it back to message history. So you are building a conversation thread. So when the user asks follow-up questions like, where can I see one? And notice that that it goes into the entire conversation history back to the model and send the response based on that one. And this is what makes them like model context aware. It knows one refers to the cheetah you were just discussing. It's not starting from the scratch each time. It's maintained conversational style. This creates that fluid, natural back and forth that makes modern AI chatbots feel genuinely interactive. So, this Azure AI Foundry SDK, this capability is not locked inside the Azure portal. You can run this code anywhere, in a Flask web server, in a .NET application, in a Node dot like JS backend. It's a mobile apps API layer. You are talking with the powerful model you carefully selected and deployed, and you are making it accessible through your own custom interface. So this is actually how every AI powered product starts. Someone identified the right model, deploys it properly, and then builds the connection layer that runs prompts into conversation. You are seeing the exact same architecture that powers like billion-dollar AI applications. So now let's go through the lab for a clear understanding on these topics. We are going to do lab number 2 from readme file, this GitHub link, and it is actually create a generative AI chat app. And if you select that view lab, we are going to follow this document. I will pass this GitHub link to my repo so that you can follow that one. So let's first connect to Azure AI Foundry. Here I have already connected. So here, after logging in, you see that choose the right model for your use case, or under explore models and capabilities. So select here GPT-4 model. Select this GPT-4 model. Now here we are going to use this model. So select that use this model. So now here, give a project name and select or expand that advanced option. So here you customize that one based on subscription. Select subscription, select resource group. In my case, resource group 1. Select that region. S2 S2 is fine, and then click on create. So wait for this project to be created. So project is created here and playground is opened here. So now in the setup pane, note the model name. So that is GPT-4o. Uh, so now let's create a client application to chat with this model. So for that, from the very first thing, let's put a note of these two information that we need in later on. So API key and endpoint. Just when you do that one, make sure that you selected Azure AI Foundry, not like OpenAI or Azure AI services. So now, next we are going to connect to portal and open a cloud shell. So here is the Cloud Shell. Make sure it's the PowerShell window. And no storage account required. Select your subscription. Click apply. And make sure to use the classic version because that is required to use code editor. So from settings, click on classic version. Let it maximize. So now, okay, it's always better to use cls command. Because when we are using those commands, the output may take up a large amount of the screen buffer. So it is better to clear the screen. That is cls. We have already done, but this is the command. So now we are going to clone a repository which has got all the required code files for this lab exercise. So first is remove command. Though we don't have that one, just typing that one to remove, and a dash is force and r is recursive. Then it's cloning this repository. Now again CLS, it is better to clear. Then we are going to that the repo directory to Python. There is a directory called Python, so we are going to Python directory and see those files listed there, which are like codes that the requirements text and also chat app.python. So actually this contains all the code files that we are going to use. So uh, now we need to execute some commands to install the libraries. So you can see that Azure Identity, Azure AI project. So different libraries are going to which we need to. We are just installing them. Now we need to modify the configuration file. Get the endpoint. And the model deployment. In our case, we deployed model is in let me show you playground GPT-40 just to make sure GPT-40 Control S to save, Control Q. So now, okay, let's clear screen. Now we are going to edit the code, chat up code. So let's execute code chat app.py is Python. So now here, let me open VS Code. Copy all this text, what is here in initial. Now click on create new file. I'm using this one. I can get get that git repo even here, but I'm not going to do that one for now. Just to modify the code, I'm going to use this one so that I can see all the text here. Let me make bigger font. So as per the lab instruction, very first thing we have to do the add into, okay, copy did not work. Let me copy again and see. No, copy command is not working here. I am not sure what the reason. As per lab, very fast that we are going to add code like add reference sections to reference the namespace in the libraries that we have installed previously. Then next section is that initialize the project client. This is mainly to add the client there into Azure AI Foundry project. Next, here is the get a chat client. So this code to create a object for chatting with the model. Then initialize prompt with the system message. So here we are giving the system level message like you are an helpful AI assistant that answers the questions. Then here get last portion is get a chat completion. So this code actually to add the user input to the prompt. If you see the prompt, we are giving the user input. Then retrieve the completion from the model we are using and add the completion to the prompt. And this is mainly so that we can retain chart history for future iterations. So now here is the full code. Make sure that when you're using that one, all the indentation is correct. So for that, let me go back, minimize this one, go back to my repo. And if you go up, you'll see that create a generative AI chat app. This is the lab name, and then chatapp.py. If you open that one, it has got the final script, so you can copy that one, copy that file and go back into your Microsoft Azure, that portal section where we are running Cloud Shell. Now paste there, Control S to save, Control Q to quit. So now we have got the final code here, and let's like sign into Azure first from here. So command is az login. So when you log in here, it's giving that we need to go to that website, device logging, and pass this code. So let's first copy this code. Click on that link. It will open a new page URL. Pass the code here. Click next. Give the user ID, username, and password. So it's complete the sign in process here. Now here is that continue. And it's giving you a message that you have signed in to the Microsoft Azure cross-platform command line interface. So now I can close this window. So select close. If I go back, you will see that it has already now get that subscription related information. I want to keep that one, so I can press enter. Now, after signing in, we are going to execute the command, the chat app, press enter. So enter the prompt or type quick. So enter a prompt. So let's give a prompt here. What is the fastest animal on earth? If I submit that, you see that it's given response that the fastest animal on earth is the uh, peregrine falcon. So now we can ask for another prompt like where can I see that one? You can get that information where you can see that one. Next you can ask are they endangered? Another prompt. So this prompts or this conversation should continue using the chat history as context for each iteration. So when you're done, then you can just type quit to exit the program. So this is very much it for this lab. So we have successfully completed lab on generative AI chat app. Um, if you have any questions, put comments down below. Otherwise, see you in next lab.